Have you ever caught yourself daydreaming about a life free of alarm clocks and endless meetings, but something keeps holding you back? Maybe it's the uncertainty, or perhaps you just aren't sure if it's the right time. Imagine realizing you could have been enjoying your golden years much sooner than you ever thought possible. So, how do you truly know if leaving work behind is the right move for you right now? And what if there are warning signs you've been missing, quietly urging you toward a sooner retirement? Believe it or not, there are clear signals that show retirement could be the best next step, and recognizing them might transform your future. Stay until the end. What you'll learn might change your life. If you're ready to discover something eye-opening, hit subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Stressed more than ever, when work is no longer worth the toll. Think back to the mornings when your job brought meaning or excitement, even in the smallest ways. Maybe it was the feeling of purpose, the sense of belonging, or just being needed somewhere. But lately, has that spark dimmed? Picture waking up not with eagerness, but with a pit in your stomach. Your workdays blur together, and you're more irritable, short-tempered, or exhausted by lunchtime. For countless older adults, mounting stress becomes harder to shake off as time passes. Jim, 67, spent most of his life as a dedicated accountant. He always took pride in closing the books each month, juggling numbers, and mentoring younger colleagues. But in the last 2 years, he noticed his patience slipping. Simple requests felt overwhelming. The phone ringing would set his nerves on edge. Family dinners became rare since work left him too drained for anything else. His doctor even started to worry about his high blood pressure, linking it to job-induced anxiety. Stories like Jim's are becoming more common. The golden years can be overshadowed by compounding stress that impacts health, relationships, and even overall happiness. If going to work feels less like a routine and more like an emotional battle, the scales may be tipping. No paycheck is worth sacrificing your peace of mind, especially when these years offer the chance to rediscover yourself beyond your career. Have you noticed your job taking more from you than it gives lately? If so, you might be ignoring a sign that it's time to prioritize your health and well-being over workplace demands. Are you ready to ask yourself what price you're really paying for continuing down this path, and what freedom might feel like on the other side? Losing interest in what used to matter, when passion fades from your work. Remember when you used to look forward to the small victories at work, a project well done, a compliment from a client, or even just the satisfaction of finishing another week strong? For many retirees, the early years were filled with pride in achievements and genuine interest in work-related conversations. Now, imagine sitting at your desk and realizing that nothing at work excites you anymore. Margaret, 69, spent over 30 years as a nurse. For the longest time, watching a patient recover or lending a listening ear gave her a deep sense of fulfillment. But over the last year, she found herself going through the motions, feeling numb to patient successes and immune to coworker camaraderie. She realized she was no longer reading medical articles the way she once did. Even staff parties and milestone celebrations couldn't spark any enthusiasm. Maybe you felt a wave of indifference creep in, too, a sure sign your heart just isn't in it anymore. This gradual loss of interest often hints that what once fueled your spirit now feels like an obligation, not a calling. Without a genuine connection to your work, sticking around may only breed resentment or sadness as you watch others find joy in things that no longer move you. These changes signal it's time to rethink how you're spending your precious years. Could your time and energy bring you more happiness elsewhere? Maybe with grandchildren, in the garden, or finally picking up a forgotten hobby. Ask yourself, when was the last time work inspired you? And what could your life look like if you poured that energy into something that truly lights you up again? Feeling underappreciated, when your contributions go unnoticed. In the early days of your career, your ideas may have sparked lively discussions or won praise from managers and colleagues alike. It felt rewarding to know that your experience was valued and that you had a hand in shaping your workplace. Unfortunately, as the years pass, many dedicated workers begin to sense their voices fading into the background. Take Helen, 68, who spent decades as a trusted librarian, helping coordinate programs and enhancing community spaces. She once received thank you notes from grateful visitors and recognition at staff meetings. Recently, though, she's noticed her suggestions getting overlooked or dismissed. Even when she went above and beyond on a project, credit was given to someone else, or her efforts barely earned a nod. At first, Helen tried to brush it off, believing it was just an off week. But as time went on, the lack of acknowledgement chipped away at her confidence and joy for the job. This experience is all too common among older professionals as workplaces evolve and priorities shift. When your hard work and wisdom stop receiving the appreciation they deserve, showing up each day can start to feel hollow. You may wonder if your work is still making a difference, or if anyone would even notice if you stepped away. If recognition is lacking and you find yourself feeling invisible despite years of dedication, it could be life telling you it's time to seek appreciation elsewhere, or perhaps to find worth within yourself again. Have you been waiting too long for someone at work to notice your value? And wouldn't it feel freeing to put your energy toward places and people who genuinely see and celebrate you? Health takes a back seat when work undermines your well-being. For years, you may have shrugged off aches, stress, and exhaustion, believing that dedication means pushing through no matter how you feel. Maybe you used to pride yourself on rarely taking a sick day or handling long hours without complaint. But as time passes, it can become impossible to ignore the mounting toll that work takes on your health. Consider George, 70, who devoted most of his life to running a family-owned hardware store. He always said he'd know when it was time to let go. But lately, his visits to the doctor became more frequent, and he felt constantly fatigued. Small tasks would leave him breathless, and chronic back pain often made mornings almost unbearable. George's wife and children began to worry as stress seemed to follow him even on weekends. Eventually, his doctor warned that continuing at this pace could lead to more serious complications. For many older adults, prioritizing work over personal health happens gradually. You may tell yourself it's just one more busy season or that you can rest later, but the body often has its own timeline. Ignoring signals like recurring illnesses, high blood pressure, or worsening aches may inevitably cost you precious quality time with loved ones. If you're finding it harder to bounce back after a long day, or your physician is urging lifestyle changes, consider whether holding on to your job is worth the risk to your well-being. Ultimately, no amount of dedication or duty replaces the importance of health. Are you listening to the warning signs your body is giving? And could it be time to give yourself permission to heal, rest, and live more fully? Opportunities outside work, when life's calling gets louder. Sometimes it's not dissatisfaction with your job that hints it's time to retire. It's the pull of something richer awaiting you beyond the workplace. Many people spend decades immersed in their professions, unintentionally putting dreams and passions on hold. Take Albert, 71, who spent over 40 years as an engineer. His days were consumed by deadlines and meetings, but quietly, he'd always longed to travel, reconnect with far-off relatives, and finally learn to paint landscapes. As retirement initially seemed distant, Albert pushed these ambitions aside, reasoning there would be time later. However, the years passed quickly, It wasn't until his granddaughter invited him to a watercolor class and his son planned a family road trip that he realized the richness waiting outside his familiar office. Albert's hesitation faded as he embraced new experiences and rediscovered joy in learning something new. Like Albert, many retirees report that the most fulfilling chapter of their lives began when they let go of work obligations and made space for adventure, personal growth, or volunteering causes close to their hearts. These dreams don't have to be grand. Perhaps it's tending a garden, mentoring young people, or spending slow mornings with grandchildren. The important thing is to notice when the world outside your career starts to call more loudly than the demands of your job. If you feel a spark of excitement at the thought of new endeavors, or have quietly yearned to pursue forgotten passions, maybe this is your sign to finally say yes to those opportunities. What adventures or hobbies have you put off for too long? And how would your life change if you gave yourself permission to chase them now? Shifting priorities when family means more than the office. Sometimes the clearest sign that it's time to retire isn't about work at all. It's about the people who matter most in your life. Many older workers discover their priorities gradually shifting. The pride that once came from long hours or climbing the career ladder starts to fade compared to the joy found in simple moments with family. Take Elaine, a 68-year-old advertising manager who always devoted herself to her job, believing her dedication set a positive example for her children and grandchildren. But after missing her grandson's school play and her daughter's milestone birthday dinner because of last-minute work emergencies, Elaine felt a growing sense of loss that her professional achievements couldn't fill. She realized that watching her grandkids grow up, sharing dinner with her spouse, or visiting a sibling she hadn't seen in years were moments slipping through her fingers in exchange for conference calls and deadlines. With each passing year, time with loved ones becomes more precious, and the opportunities to make memories together feel increasingly rare. Many retirees later look back wishing they could have turned their attention to family sooner, especially as health or mobility concerns make travel or gatherings more challenging down the road. If you find yourself regretting missed family events, longing for deeper connections, or simply wanting to be more present for your spouse, children, or grandchildren, it may be a sign that your heart has outgrown your work responsibilities. Life's most meaningful experiences are often found outside the workplace. Are you willing to sacrifice more irreplaceable moments with your loved ones? Or is it time to prioritize what truly matters and embrace the gift of togetherness while you still have it? Financial security, when you realize you're ready. Many people delay retirement because they fear not having enough savings. But sometimes, a deeper look at your financial situation reveals you're more prepared than you think. For years, Terry, now 66, stuck to a rigid savings plan, avoiding trips and hobbies with the thought that every dollar needed to go toward the future. His routine revolved around a constant sense of scarcity. Even as his retirement account grew healthier, he clung tightly to frugality, doubting whether he could finally enjoy his hard-earned money. It wasn't until his financial advisor encouraged him to genuinely review his nest egg, create a feasible withdrawal plan, and look honestly at his expenses and assets that Terry recognized he had plenty to support a comfortable lifestyle. The relief was immediate. He realized he didn't need a fortune to live well, just clarity and a bit of self-trust. With this newfound confidence, Terry began saying yes to more family outings, started planning his dream trip to Italy, and even pursued a woodworking class he'd admired for years. His anxiety about finances faded as he embraced the fact that his discipline had paid off and retirement was not a risk, but a well-deserved opportunity. Too many people undermine their golden years by allowing financial fears to overshadow reality. If you've worked with a trusted advisor, reviewed your resources, and discovered you're actually in a strong position, what's stopping you from transitioning into a freer, more enjoyable phase? What dreams would you start chasing if you realized, right now, that you truly have enough? Unfulfilled passions, when your heart yearns for more. It's easy to fall into the habit of putting work before your personal dreams, promising yourself that there will be time later to travel, learn new skills, or spend quality moments with family. For many, years pass as days blur together, work obligations piling up, while desires and interests are quietly shelved. Albert, a 71-year-old engineer, exemplifies this experience. Decades ago, he dreamed of painting landscapes, exploring far-off countries, and reconnecting with family. Each year, work consumed him, and his creative ambitions faded into the background. One day, his granddaughter invited him to her art class, and his son suggested a family reunion trip. These simple invitations made Albert reconsider how work had kept him from embracing life's possibilities. Taking a leap, he joined the art class, discovering a passion for watercolor painting he had long ignored. New friendships formed and vibrant conversations flourished as he reconnected creatively and emotionally. Albert also joined his family on a memorable trip, savoring moments he once feared he'd never have. Countless retirees find meaning by finally engaging in passions left on hold for far too long. Whether pursuing a hobby, volunteering, learning a language, or simply being present for loved ones. If your inner voice grows stronger, urging you to invest in personal fulfillment over professional obligation, perhaps it's a sign to step away from work and toward what brings you true joy. What adventure, skill, or heartfelt connection have you been postponing, and could right now be the perfect moment to finally embrace it? As you have seen throughout this journey, the signs that it might be time to retire often show up in subtle but meaningful ways. Perhaps you felt the weight of work stress on your health, noticed your passion fading, or realized that life's most treasured moments with family and friends are slipping away. You may even have discovered that your financial situation is more secure than you believed, or felt a new longing to nurture long-hidden dreams. Each of these signals is not just a gentle nudge. It's a reminder that life is short and precious, and it's never too late to choose joy, fulfillment, and peace over routine or fear. Wherever you are right now, remember that stepping back from work doesn't mean letting go of purpose. Sometimes, it's the first step toward discovering a richer, more meaningful chapter, one defined not by deadlines, but by the freedom to pursue what makes your heart feel alive. You deserve days filled with laughter, learning, and connection, whether you spend them with loved ones, volunteering, or exploring new passions. If any single story or point today resonated with you, know that you're not alone. Many have stood where you stand now, wondering if it's time and finding courage on the other side. If this message spoke to you or inspired you to reconsider your next steps, leave a comment with the word wisdom below, share your thoughts, or tell us about your dreams for retirement. And if you'd like to hear more about living your later years with joy and strength, make sure to subscribe and join our community. Remember, your best days may be just around the corner. Embrace them with hope and an open heart.